Hello, welcome. This channel was designed for you, who like stories and curiosities about the world and humanity. Enjoy this trip through time. And in this unmissable episode, we will learn a little about the incredible history of writing. In a few millennia, you might be watching this documentary recorded on holograms. Ancient civilizations, Egyptian, Sumerian, Greek, Roman, all used writing systems. In general, they evolved to vowels. And deep down, I wonder if someone is recording this documentary on holograms. Who doesn't love a good mystery? What if I told you that you could solve it at home? What? No time? Oh, my dear Arthur, I know you're packed with commitments, but time doesn't go back, it just glides. Dedicate just 1 minute a day to learning something new. To learn more, visit the website. In the Nile River Valley, the pyramids seem to defy the passage of time. In the Middle East, the ruins of the cities of Uruk and Eridu tell ancient legends. In any case, let's go back to antiquity to unravel how cuneiform writing and Egyptian hieroglyphics taught us to record the human voice in time. More than 5,000 years ago, humanity took a leap that would change history forever: the invention of writing. From the plains of Mesopotamia to the Nile Valley, the first recording systems emerged: cuneiform writing and hieroglyphics. In 3200 BC, in the region of Mesopotamia, which included parts of present-day Iraq, Kuwait, and Turkey, the Sumerian civilization flourished. Its cities, such as the capital Eridu, housed large temples and palaces. At that time, the city-states of Mesopotamia prospered. Nomadic peoples gave way to sedentary communities dedicated to agriculture. The crops displayed wheat, barley, lentils, grapes, dattle, and figs. The mansions and palaces of rulers and priests boasted beautiful gardens irrigated by the canals that crisscrossed the region. Everything seemed to be heading towards perfection. A little later, the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians would dominate the region, leaving their mark on the language and customs. But it was with the Sumerians that cuneiform writing took shape. Around 3200 BC in Sumeria, a complex society needed to control grain supplies, taxes, and laws. The solution marks on clay tablets the first steps of cuneiform writing. Imagine sistema para controlar o fluxo de suprimentos, bens e serviços, o primeiro sistema de gestão da história. Expert, they started with simple pictograms, but over time these symbols evolved into abstract forms made with a wedge-shaped reed, hence the name cuneiform. Cuneiform writing, summarized the expert. In 3000 BC, the Sumerians were already using symbols for accounting, such as 25, 100, and 1000. At the height of the system around 1750 BC, the Babylonians produced literary texts of tales, laws, ethics, and science. The Epic of Gilgamesh, a poem about the search for immortality, is the oldest example of a romance. For the Egyptians, writing was sacred, a gift granted to humans by the gods to document the reign of the pharaohs, religious rituals, and life after death. Cuneiform writing, on the other hand, was a practical tool for administration, trade, and the development of knowledge. They were written on surfaces of stone, papyrus, wood, and clay. Egyptian hieroglyphics were a complex system that combined logograms, symbols representing words, and phonograms, symbols representing sounds. Unlike cuneiform, this writing was a reflection of Egyptian culture and mysticism. Like a distant echo, cuneiform writing resonates throughout history. It influenced the Phoenician alphabet around 1050 BC, which in turn gave rise to Greek, Latin, and other modern scripts. Without writing, we would not have historical records, literature, or science as we know it. Expert. It was humanity's first cloud of data storage, a way to collect, store, and transmit information. The first step towards understanding the history of humanity. Cuneiform and Egyptian hieroglyphics emerged at different times and in different socio-cultural contexts. Egyptian hieroglyphics emerged in a theocentric environment, where religion was central to social and political life. Hieroglyphics were considered sacred, and their main function was to glorify the pharaohs and the established order. Cuneiform, on the other hand, emerged in a more pragmatic context. The need to control inventories and commercial transactions led to the creation of a writing system for administrative and scientific purposes. Egyptian hieroglyphics were written on stone, papyrus, and other durable materials, while cuneiform could be engraved on clay, a more fragile material that could be easily transported and reproduced. Since hieroglyphics were a complex system, it took hours to write. Cuneiform, on the other hand, although it could be elaborated, was quicker to engrave, which made it more practical for everyday use. The invention of cuneiform and hieroglyphics marked a crucial point in the history of humanity. It was a milestone in communication, in the recording of knowledge, and in social organization. These systems allowed the ideas, beliefs, knowledge, and experiences of past generations to be transmitted to future generations. Without writing, the history of humanity would be incomplete, since much of our knowledge about ancient civilizations is based on these valuable records. Writing allows us to travel through time and connect with past cultures, understanding their customs, values, and challenges. Cuneiform and Egyptian hieroglyphics are a lasting legacy of human intelligence and creativity. They were innovative systems that emerged in specific historical contexts and developed independently. With its abstract, initially utilitarian forms, evolved to record myths, laws, and narratives. Os hieróglifos egípcios, por sua vez, combinavam a estética com a função, expressando a cultura e o misticismo do Antigo Egito. Both systems revolutionized the way societies communicated and organized their knowledge. Egyptian hieroglyphics remain enigmatic and beautiful, a puzzle that has fascinated scholars for centuries. The Rosetta Stone, discovered in 1799, became the key to deciphering this code, revealing the richness and complexity of Egyptian language and culture. Cuneiform writing, on the other hand, witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the evolution of languages, and the exchange of knowledge between peoples. Whether in the vastness of Egypt or on the plains of Mesopotamia, the invention of writing was an act of genius. It was the human will to capture the ephemeral in the timeless. A clay tablet, a papyrus, a dream of epic tales and laws, of kings and flocks. Writing was the bridge between now and never. Its echoes resonate in every book, in every line, on every page of history. Imagine the scene. You are there watching this documentary recorded in holograms. The invention of writing, an event so monumental that it spans millennia, has caught the attention of who knows how many peoples, from the Sumerians to us. But does its story end here? After all, time does not go back, but it glides on. And what about your story? What is your place in it? Each person has a unique story, shaped by experiences, dreams, and desires. But we are not always able to make sense of everything we experience. We often lose track of the story, searching for answers to existential questions, trying to understand ourselves and our role in the cosmos. In a world where social media instantly connects us to people on the other side of the planet, do we still feel so alone? Amidst the rush of everyday life, it is easy to lose sight of what really matters. We worry about small issues, fight over nothing, and forget to take care of what makes us human. Connecting with the history of humanity helps us see the world from a new perspective. Observing how ancient civilizations overcame obstacles, sought answers, and left a legacy for future generations inspires us. It is a reminder that we are capable of great things when we come together and fight for a common purpose. History teaches us that humanity has gone through difficult times, but has always known how to reinvent itself and move forward. The invention of writing was a milestone in this process, as it enabled us to record knowledge and pass it on to future generations. It allowed us to learn from past mistakes and seek solutions to present challenges. When we reflect on the history of humanity, we realize that we are part of something greater, a lineage of people who fought, dreamed and created to build the world we live in today. Our history is not limited to dates, names, and events. It pulses within each of us, shaping our actions, thoughts, and emotions. Every choice we make, every step we take, contributes to the construction of the history that will one day be told. As we watch this documentary recorded in holograms, we are invited to reflect on our own history. What has been our journey so far? What legacy do we want to leave for future generations? In a world that seems increasingly fragmented, the history of humanity reminds us that we are capable of great achievements when we unite around a purpose. We need to cultivate curiosity, empathy, and the search for knowledge. We need to celebrate the achievements of the past, honor the anonymous heroes who built our history, and learn from the mistakes that led us here. After all, history was not written only by the victors. It pulses within each of us, waiting to be told, shaped, and continued. In a few millennia, who knows, someone might be watching this documentary recorded in holograms, and in their hands rests the invention of writing, a legacy of human intelligence and creativity. And so, the history of humanity continues, guided by curiosity, the search for knowledge, and the ability to transform the world.